have got, like I said, 4 very accomplished C-suite executives. And, we are talking about advancing in business as a woman. And I think all of us would be keen to learn how each of you came to be in the roles you are in today. Now, each of you will have long stories, but of course, we are limited with time. And so I kind of want to reduce or try to abridge the question or the history of how you got to where you are, but sharing 3 key factors that you believe have got you to where you are today. This can be a person who kind of helped you. This can be a person who was a role model. Maybe it's just a principle or a factor that you've used in your day-to-day lives that have got you where you are today. And Mirna, just because you're on the farthest from me, I'm going to get started with you. Yeah, sure. How did you get to where you are? What are the 3 key factors?
Well, thank you, AB, and good morning, everyone. It's really an absolute pleasure being here today, and obviously sharing this stage with fantastic female leaders. But before answering your question, I have to start with a heartfelt thank you to Mila and to the entire organizing team of Women Empowerment Convention. I mean, it's a world-class experience, despite the challenges that the beautiful city of Dubai has faced in the last couple of days. And if it shows anything, it really shows resilience, perseverance, which happens to be, AB, 2 of the most important key factors that actually shaped my career path. And the number 1 being eagerness to learn. So I've always had these 3 guiding principles as I moved through my career journey that is more or less thrilling roller coaster ride, still happening with all its ups and downs and inflection point. I've changed countries, I've changed companies, I worked in public sector, I work in private sector, I changed industries, you name it. But it has always been those 3: eagerness to learn, resilience, and perseverance. And here I am today.
Thank you so much, Mirna. I'm going to come back to you to drill on those points a little later. Saida, over to you again, the 3 key factors that got you where you are today in your career, in your life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, I actually want to piggyback on that and shout out to everyone who's here today. Congratulations on staying dry. That's a big feat, given everything that's happening. And it's just, we're happy to see that the city is up and the city is out. And it's yet another beautiful day in Dubai. In terms of factors that have shaped my life, I think there are many, many, many things. But if I really is to distill it down, I think the most important thing was following my passion. There are things that I've loved to do that may be very different than any other person. And that's what works for me. Mm-hmm. What works for me may not work for you. So that's probably the most important thing, following my passion, doing what I love to do. The second would probably be just working incredibly hard. It's in the world that we live in, it's very easy to assume things are just easy. They happen, right? You don't have to work hard for it. You make it look so easy. You make it look so effortless.
No.
You make it look easy and effortless because of the hours and days and weeks and months of hard work and grind that has gone into it. So there's just no substitute for that. You're gonna have to work hard. And I guess the third thing would be no one person knows it all. I certainly don't. And it's so critical to have your people around you, a group of people you trust. And they might be different people at different points in your life. It doesn't matter. I constantly learn from my 10-year-old son every day, right? But you gotta have people that you trust and people you listen to much more than anything else. And I would say that's probably it.
Yeah, I mean, great points. I hope people are taking notes. Following your passion, getting the right people around you, and of course, working really, really hard. I think the last thing is something I personally struggle with when I'm getting new people into the team, and I'm like, no, this doesn't come on a platter. There's a lot of work that goes into it. Mary, over to you.
Actually, yes, I'm very proud to be here Thank you very much. It's like warm. I feel the warmness, yes, of the audience. And definitely, we all have so much of the experience to share. But when I was thinking what I want to share with the audience, because I built my career like from the very small city to the big place. I changed also a lot of, let's say, places to live. I travel a lot. And now I'm here in Middle East. Also, it's for me like I'm newborn here. I'm only 8 months, yes, in the country, enjoying the country itself and the region. But what I was thinking, what formed me and what is driving me, the first thing came to my mind was courage. Don't afraid. Yes, you need to have this courage to do this first step. I like a lot to say dare. Be very courageous in the decisions you're taking. Don't afraid. God will always support you. You will always have this support. Don't afraid. Then the second thing, when I was reflecting also, was coming that don't afraid to ask. It's something that being a woman is always precious. Being a man also precious. I don't want to stress that much. Men have their own pressure. Women has their own pressure. But I feel always that we try to do ourselves a lot of things, like we always hesitate to ask for help. And this was a learning curve for me also. I'm sharing like true story, true example. But when I start asking for help, I felt myself so relieved, so easier that I'm not alone in this journey. So be not afraid to ask for help. And definitely resilience. I would echo, let's say, there was already a word that came across that, yes, resilience will definitely help. So this is like my story, my tips.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Mary. Hoda, last but not the least.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to say that it's really heartwarming to be here today, to see this energy in the room. It's the weekend, but I feel super energized, as if I'm at the end of the weekend. So thank you so much for making it today. And thank you also for Mila Smart for hosting this incredible conference. When I think of it, first of all, I would say the way I was brought up. So the family that you are in, the way you are brought up, the challenges that you face, and the number of no's that you get would typically shape your character. And I would say that also the thing that would make me successful or help me reach where I am today is thinking of the brand that you would like to carry forward with you. So think of this brand, respect your brand, and always make sure that whatever you do would take the brand forward. So no cutting corners, nothing that would harm people around you, and make sure also that I always make sure that I have people who would support me at home. I have my sister here sitting somewhere, massive support all over the way. I had my family members, I had my colleagues, and more importantly, the team that I'm working with. I always had a team that was much stronger than me. And maybe, like Dr. Saida has mentioned, I don't know everything. I will not be able to do everything. I always need to have the ecosystem and the support from within, from the team that supports me. And the perseverance, as Mena has said, and just thinking positively at all times. Whatever challenge that comes into my way. One of my mentors told me, don't regret any challenges. Don't regret that you lost even money because of a challenge. It is a learning fee. So every step of the road, if you take it as a learning fee to take you forward, I think it would help you move always forward.
I love that idea. It's like taking a learning fee for every challenge that you do. That's a lovely idea. So I guess the audience have heard of it, and I would like them to take note of the overlap in the principles that you shared. There was perseverance repeated, take the people around you, but always remember to ask for help. Be courageous enough to ask for help. And a learning mindset came up over and over again. Mirna, I want to bring this up to you because I know that you have this importance on a learning mindset. How important is a formal education to get you to where you are today? And second reading is maybe all of us don't have that opportunity to get formal education. How do we still move ahead? What's your answer?
Thank you, AB. Actually, I love that question because, as you said, as I reflect on my career, and one of my guiding principles have always been the eagerness to learn, the passion to learn. And that brings, obviously, the topic of education, but education in all its shapes and form. Could be formal, could be informal. I love casual education. You learn every day. You learn from practical things you do, you learn from people you meet, you learn from amazing gathering. I mean, you learn from the people sitting next to you, in front of you, behind you sometimes. I think it's an all-rounded learning. And again, as I reflect on my personal career journey, I think it has always been this passion to learn that really made people take an interest in my own career development and professional growth. They actually became mentors, they became allies, they became lifelong friends who truly advocated for my progression, for my success. It was because of that eagerness to learn. And I think that takes me to a topic that a lot of you have already mentioned, Dr. Saida and Hoda. It is the let's get out of the know-it-all culture. It's really about building a learn-it-all culture. You learn every day, and that has impacted my own personal leadership style even. How to curate a culture of learn-it-all, how to learn every day, how to make sure you're inclusive, how to make sure that you lead with a growth mindset, how to make sure that you hear others, different perspectives. We all very easily fall always into our unconscious bias. We want to be surrounded with people who look like us, speak like us, maybe have the same formal education than us. But that couldn't be furthest from the truth, because you usually get the best ideas and insight and learning from people who are completely different than you. And I experienced that firsthand when I traveled and I worked in different markets and I mingled with different cultures, and that was the true learning. Yes, I did do my formal education part, but that was the true learning. It's really the ability to be insatiably curious all the time, to lean into uncertainty, to take risks, to get out of your comfort zone, to continue to learn, to not be afraid to fail, make mistakes, but when you do, move on quickly, move on, continue ahead. Yep. Build on that resilience and continue with perseverance, and then you can truly make a difference and drive impact. So definitely education in all its shapes, and it doesn't have to be formal, it only has to be constant, continuous, and enjoyable.
Thank you. Mirna, I have a question from the audience, and I think this would be good if you can answer this. It's from Kishore Jahan. She's a corporate trainer, and she wants to know, what was the most impactful learning moment for you and why? Yeah, I know it's like most is like very hard, but maybe
right.
like one.
It's a difficult one, but yes, the most impactful learning moment was actually when I took my first international assignment. So I started my career in Egypt, spent the first 9 years there, and then 9 years down the road, I moved to the UK. I became the sales director for UK and Ireland. I was very young, I was Egyptian, and I had to manage people, men, twice my age sometimes, and that was a huge learning, because that's when you take a step back and you sit in that table and in that room that you're supposed to lead, and you say, you know what, you have way more experience than me, and I'm gonna learn from you. And that took the experience in a completely different direction. That was a huge learning moment. And from that moment on, when it was super scary, very uncomfortable, from now on, that was the best learning. It's like when I'm uncomfortable, that's when I learn the best.
Okay, that's good. Have a learning mindset. There you go. So I don't know if I mentioned this already, but Mirna is the first female general manager of Microsoft Egypt. So yes, her line mindset has got her where she is today. And Hoda, much like Mirna, I mean, you have a string of firsts. You were the first female managing director to be appointed by SAP for the Middle East and Africa. You were the first female managing director to lead a multinational software company, and now the first Middle Eastern COO to cover a region as vast as Asia Pacific, Japan, Middle East, and Africa. So, first question: how? How did you do it all? And what were some of the key challenges that you faced, and how did you get past them? I think that's the more important question.
For me, it was not something that was planned. I was very serious about my career, I respected my job. I wanted to grow. I wanted people around me to grow. And when I was given the opportunity to be the first managing director that the former company that I used to work for, appointed me, I didn't even know or recognize that I was the first female. Yeah, but I was thrown in a country where I'm Egyptian, but I was outside of the country for 15 years. The first move for me was in the UK, like Myrna, but by the way, it was not an easy move because there were so many questions when I was there as to how did I get my education, how did I learn in Egypt, how come you're also a leader, for European people. So there were so many, I'm Muslim, so there were so many things that were always in question mark as to how I reach where I am, which made me more resilient. Then I moved to the UAE, which is, I have to say, it's a country that opened so many horizons for me, gave us, all of us who are living here, so many opportunities, and allowed us to think differently. So the way of thinking and the way of growing from Egypt in a mixed school, actually, I was in a mixed school where we had boys and girls, basically, in the same school. I never felt that there was difference between men and women. I was always gender blind. I moved up to Europe with many challenges, again being a little bit not gender blind because there were discrepancies even compared to what I've seen in the Middle East, and then thrown back after 15 years to Egypt. So the first thing, as I said, was to hire a team that was stronger than me. Egypt was then faced with a couple of revolutions. I was not on the ground knowing what's happening. So the only way for me to take myself forward was to get people who knew, the environment there, who would help me navigate my way. And again, going back to the brand that I've mentioned, you would be surprised that when I arrived after 15 years, the brand or the people that I've interacted with remembered me for my brand 15 years ago. So people grew, I grew, and they started to support me. And that's basically it.
I love that, again, you're saying things which I find very interesting purely from a thinking point of view. I'm like, oh, this is great, learning fees to get to where you are and thinking about the future brand or the brand you want to be remembered for. I'm curious to know, were there any sacrifices you had to make? And if so, this is actually a question from the audience, Daphne, like any sacrifices that were made, do you think those outweigh the success goals that you've achieved? Or
many,
not really?
many sacrifices. And if I would rewind back, I would have a balance. To be quite honest, I was more focused on career than personal life. I would not encourage anyone to do so. Okay. So the balance is required. But I have also to say that during my time, being a female, it was very hard, It was very hard to have this balance. There was no support. There was no understanding of giving support system. I worked in many multinationals, but it was not profound at the time. But it would have also been my mistake to focus more on the career. So please have a balance. Think when you want to retire how the balanced life would look like. So that is the sacrifice that I made.
Fair enough. Saida, over to you. I think we're hearing, again, this topic that's repeating itself, like keep the people around you, learn from them, choose the best people around you. From your perspective at Visa, and again, this is like a global operation, what are the tricks and techniques that you use to lead? Like, what is the best way to lead and not be micromanaging, but also getting to the results that you want? What has worked for you? And I'm also curious to know if there is a difference between leading men versus leading women. Is there a change, and what is your opinion on that? Yeah.
Leading people is not easy.
Yeah.
Each and every one of us is so uniquely different. We are so blessed in so many ways at Visa, and frankly, in the workforce, that we do have some amazing women around us. I think that's the first thing that we do need to say right off the bat. I have 3 of my incredible women colleagues in the audience. I know you guys are there somewhere. So it's just one thing I want to acknowledge right off the bat, that there are an incredible number of amazing women out there. Let's not forget that for a moment, right? In terms of leading, it's something that I think is innate, and it's something that is in each and every one of us. And maybe I'll share a couple of my guiding principles, right? Each and every one of us have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Please use it proportionately. Look, listen, a lot more than we speak.
Yep.
Understand, learn. Now, the three ladies out there, I'm not sure you agree or not, but at least that's what I'd like to think. That's the first thing. And I think the second thing that is extremely important is to know what kind of a situation you're in. And there's probably two different kinds of situations in life, right? There is, and I'll take a page out of your book. If you're a pilot, you want to make sure you do everything exactly the way it's supposed to be done. That half a second of efficiency you might gain is nothing compared to what may go wrong if you try something new and different. That is a situation where you just need to make sure everything that needs to happen happens exactly the same way. That's one kind of situation, and that's one kind of leadership. Mm-hmm. There's a very different situation and a very different leadership, which is if I'm an experimental scientist, I want to break the mold. We want to find something new and creative and different. Yeah. We want the new technology. We want the new breakthrough. And there, the upside of getting something new and different far outweighs. It won't work. No problem. We figure it out. So you got to know which situation you're in. Do you have to land that plane very carefully? Or are you trying to find that next big breakout thing? And then everything changes according to that.
Again, great insight there, because, there is that notion like you should throw out the rule book. And I'm like, no, the rule book is there for a reason. Let's keep it there, but use it accordingly. And I agree with you, what you said about how that informs your leadership as well. Mary, I have to bring you into the conversation. Now, like I was saying, like Mirna, Saida, Huda, kind of from the region. You came in from outside of the region. But that said, you were already doing an amazing job as the managing director for Russia and the Central, or the Commonwealth of Independent States, and now you lead the region. First, let's talk about when you became managing director prior to entering the region. What were the key lessons you learned, and how did that inform what you do today now?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, I grew up my career in quite a, let's say, man world, because I'm growing in sales, and it's like very, let's say, hard sales, meeting the customer every day, talking with the distributors or key account clients, and it was predominantly man world, but I choose it because I got a courage. And I really had a big desire to know it's good. I'm a very good negotiator. It came by nature. That's why I said, okay, I will take a courage and build a career, not in marketing, not in, let's say, more headquarter departments. And I grew in sales. I travel. I'm sometimes saying there is none of the city in the country that I did not visit. Like I travel quite massively, to see the customer. And this was my, let's say, beauty, that I knew the land. So like you said, I was using my eyes, ears to know everything, to have the knowledge, and I'm working hard, because you need to work hard to bring the results. Because in the environment you are living for women, it's very difficult to show the better skills and to bring better results, because you need to be more creative to some extent to bring the result. This is what I was using: creativity, courage, and don't afraid to go to some destiny that you never visited. It is very encouraging to see people, to meet people, and to talk with the people. And actually, I need to say that all this is helping me now to adopt in the region, because these skills, to listen to people, to talk, to travel. I'm 8 months in the region, and I visited practically all the places. I visit Egypt, Saudi, all the destinations I'm responsible for. I'm meeting people, talking to them, meeting customers, meeting distributors, meeting clients, and try to understand like what they expect from us and what is, let's say, the core proposition we need to build. So I think this is one of the key strengths that I'm using, and I would share with you guys. Don't afraid of that. I have a family, I have daughter, I have husband, and actually my intensive traveling, they sometimes, when I am spending more than 2 days in the house, they said, what happened? Something wrong? I said, no, it's okay. This week I decided not to travel, yeah. So, and I found this balance because it's my nature. I'm listening to my natural, let's say, instincts, and I have this character, and I managed to balance it with the family, definitely with all support that my family is giving to me, yeah. So this is it.
Thank you. So this is a question I was not planning to ask, but as it turns out, the audience is very strong about this. So I've got like Miriam Abbasi, Mimi Maluli, quite a few names. I'll try and bring up these names before. And since all of you have been talking about family, I think this is a question which has come up. I personally don't like to ask this question because we never ask the men that, like how do you balance family and work? But that said, I'm going to listen to the audience. So has that ever been a challenge for you guys? How do you manage it right now? What have you, I would say, learning fees that you've paid in the past that you're willing to do differently? Anyone can answer, feel free to chime in. Yeah, balancing family and work, yeah.
Sure, I can start. Look, I think it's a journey. It's not something that at least that anyone I know has ever said, got it, figured it out, right? I think it's something we are constantly trying, constantly doing. And we have to be realistic. There are days and weeks where you're just busy and you just don't have time. But then you make up for it in other ways. And you try to create those moments and you try to find the time. And it is, that's at the end of the day, that's what it is. So again, my son thinks at work, we take a lot of holidays because he always asks me, so Mom, where are you going on holiday this week?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, right? But it is, at the end of the day, you just got to balance it. You got to fight for every moment. You got to be ruthless about prioritizing and saying, there's more than enough to do that can fill up 2 lifetimes. But is this something that I need to be doing now? And if the answer is no, then perhaps it's not something that needs to be done.
Yeah.
I'd love to add to that because I love it. And I get asked that question all the time. So I'm a single mom of 2 kids who are no longer kids. And I call it the imbalance. Work-life balance is all about managing the imbalance because it's not going to be balanced. Sometimes it's going to be more towards family, sometimes it's going to be more towards career, but it's always going to be a juggle. And I think it's really about finding your own balance. We're all very different. I think when Mila stood on the stage, she said, this is real diversity, and it is. Every single one of us has a story, has a journey, has circumstances. You have to find your own balance at your own pace, at your own time, and it's okay as long as it makes you happy. Sometimes you won't, but as long as it eventually does, find your passion, find your own balance, and it's okay to juggle. We're women, we're good at it. That's what we do best, we multitask.
Yeah. Mary, would you like? Yeah.
Actually, yeah, because I touch upon this in my speech, and I really want to share, at some moment of my career, I actually gave my daughter to my mom, because I went to INSEAD, I took MBA, I took a decision to, let's say, boost my knowledge and career, and it's a fact. Yes, it's a fact of my life that I decided to give my daughter for 3-4 years to grow up with my parents. So, and it was a decision that definitely, when time passed, I spent some time on talking with her, explaining what is the reason. I never regretted it, I need to say that. I was thinking about that, I reflect on that. But this is sometimes the decisions you are taking that needed for you. And I really spent some time on reflecting on that I would do the same if I will now sit back and think about that. I would do the same because I enjoy my life. I really enjoy what I achieve. And I think that my daughter would be happier with the happy mom anyway, yes, she grew up in the quite happy place. My parents love her a lot. She was very comfortable and everything was okay. So she was on a safe place. But this was, I really wanted to share because it's not a shame. It's okay to take second decisions until you are in a balance, in a harmony with yourself. So this
Thank
is
you so much for
sometimes what we are
sharing.
doing.
Yeah. Bravo. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. I hope that's a story. I mean, it touched me, so I hope people will understand. One question that is, again, it's a repetitive question. I'm just picking up this question from Anne, is about, feelings of, I think someone mentioned this earlier, like wanting to be perfect all the time, or even like you mentioned, Mary, maybe not wanting to ask for help. So, and also, again, like we are talking about people who are extroverted, you go and make the connections. What about people who are introverted? How do they get ahead? So any general tips, general ideas that you would suggest? Well, I'll start with you this time.
Thank you. So I would say that sometimes as women, we make it very hard on ourselves, right? So I was exchanging messages with Mirna yesterday. I told her, I gained weight. I'm not able to figure out what I'm going to wear tomorrow. I need to be perfect. My hair, too many things that we think of just to get into the room, right? So you can, and then the balance, so who's at home? How are you managing this? How are you paying bills? So I think what we need to do is to just relax a little bit and reduce the pressure that we do on daily basis on ourselves.
Yeah.
That would be my
Yeah. Focus on the things that matter. Yeah. Anyone else would like to add? Yeah. No? Okay. Next question again. I guess this is also about what we were talking about earlier in terms of learning moments and gaining up. Do you think there is any particular thing that you have done in your personal careers that you saw a sharp increase or like a sharp rise in your personal career? Was there like one thing? I know we talked about a learning mindset or things like that, but was there one thing that you remember that really scaled your career up? Yeah, Mary, I see you nodding.
Yeah, actually, I shared already. I took a decision to take the MBA of INSEAD. And actually, this was really a boost of the career because it's broadening your understanding. Because when you're on operational day-to-day business, like you are doing, you get used to do these things, yes, every day. And this is like not letting you to see more bigger picture and give you more time for reflection to think about the things. You have no time to think. So for me, it was quite big boosts for the career. I'm also a true believer in the learning. I'm also doing a lot of stuff on the personal level and on the even, professional and personal level, yes, because growing personally also very important, not only professionally, yes, growing, to learn yourself, to know yourself. And I'm spending quite a lot of time on doing that. So for me, it was INSEAD.
Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, Mary?
I do, actually. It was more of a change in mindset. I think a lot of women in the audience would agree with me that particularly women, we're faced with a lot of skepticism. Whenever you take a leadership role, let alone take the realm of a big corporation, everybody looks at you, it's like, can she really do it? Does she have what it takes? Does she have the experience? Is she from the industry? Can she manage family and work and this and that? And it's all that skepticism. And I think that, like probably a lot of us, I used to face a lot of imposter syndrome. It's like, can I actually do it? Am I really fit to do that? Will I be able to manage all these people? But I think the moment I decided to change that skepticism into the biggest motivation ever, that's when my career really took off. So whenever anybody gives me the look of, can she do it? I'm like, you think I cannot do it? Watch me. And then join me. Because, and I look at this, it's Women Empowerment Convention, but it's a we convention. It's a we, it's all of us. You can't do it alone anyway. Yep. So it's all of us together.
I love that idea.
Yes.
You think I can't do it? Watch me. I love that idea. So we're running out of time, and I think I would like to end with this question. Again, came from the audience, from Tenji Moyo, and I think this is a nice way to close this discussion. And again, all of you had great careers, and yes, there were times that were tough, there were times that were good, and so on and so forth. But if there was any advice you would give your younger self when you were growing up in your career, what would that be and why? So maybe like one point from each of you, but I'll start with you. Yeah.
Be careful when you run fast, that you have the balance, and watch your health. Yeah, because health is important.
Yeah.
And I think there is a session today in this conference that I would be looking forward to.
Yeah. Cool. Mary, onward.
I would say trust more people. Like it took me a while to start trusting people.
Okay, trust more people. Okay, cool. Saida.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's the only way anything great ever happens.
Okay. Last but not the least, Myrna.
Enjoy the journey. It's not a straightforward path. It is a roller coaster ride. It's going to be thrilling. Lots of ups, lots of downs. Enjoy it anyway.